Hey Jackie, you want to play a game?
Sure. What's all this?
Well, we're going to have a campaign which is going to take a few days, so I want to be comfortable.
You got anything shorter?
Oh. Cue the intro. Hey there, and welcome back to the BoardGame Sherpa channel, the channel whose goal is to take the fear out of learning new board games and put the fun back in. So, there's points when you just don't have a lot of time available to play long-winded board games like Roleplay Adventure or Gloomhaven or Star Wars Rebellion or whatever. Or at your board game night, you've already played a longer game and just want to play something light and breezy before starting your next serious game. Well, search no more, because here's my list of great games to play when you want to play something but don't really want to get sucked into a marathon session. These are games that take less than 20 minutes to play and are very light, but most importantly, they're fun. And if you really like them, you can play multiple rounds of them to fill out whatever time slot you want to play. So let's not waste any time and let's get into it. Number 1, Cash and Guns. Cash and Guns is a phenomenal game by Ludovic Maublanc for Repros Productions. It's for 4 to 8 people and takes about 20 minutes to play. When my larger gaming group used to get together and we needed to take a break from the longer games, we'd break this one out. It's so much better with 6 or more people, although more people adds a little more time. Basically, the premise is that each player is a gangster splitting up the loot after a big heist. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and every player wants the biggest piece of the pie they can get. 8 loot cards are drawn, and each player chooses a card that decides whether they want to load their weapon or not load their weapon. Then, the boss of the round counts down from 3, and each player chooses and points their phone weapon at one of the player at the table. The boss player can then force one player to change his target to anyone else. Then the boss counts to 3 again, and each player chooses for the character to either chicken out and forfeit the loot, or stand up and risk being shot during the round. The chosen cards from before are now shown, and if the shooter shows a bang card, then the standing target player is eliminated from the round and gets a wound token. 3 wounds over the course of the game eliminates the player from the game. Now, if a click card comes up, then the target player survives to share the loot. After 8 rounds, the gangster with the most loot is the winner. This game came out in 2014 and might not be everyone's cup of tea here in 2023, but it really is a fun, quick game that immerses you into the gangster world safely. I know that when I look up and I have 6 foam weapons pointed at me, that I've really made my mark among my friends. Also, the foam weapons are great. I've actually used them for a Two-Face cosplay at New York Comic Con. They look great in pictures and are completely con safe. Number 2, How to Rob a Bank. I'm not sure what this says about me sticking with a bank robbing theme in this video, but How to Rob a Bank by Prospero Hall is another great board game night filler game. It's for 2 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 30 minutes. The premise is you're in a bank and a team of robbers is trying to grab money bags and bring them out to their getaway car, while avoiding bank guards who are controlled by another player. Each round represents a single floor of a 3-story bank. During each round, each robber gets 5 turns to get in, get the money, and toss it to their getaway car. But making it difficult is that the bank guards also get 5 turns to move, tackle the robber, and or lock the money bags and alarms. If you can get 4 bags out in 3 rounds, the robbers win. If not, then the bank wins. I bought this game years ago because I'm a cosplayer and my main cosplay is Captain Cold, a professional bank robber who turned into the superhero's Flash's arch enemy. And this game scratches the itch of robbing a bank without actually doing anything illegal. Seriously, it's a quick, light game that's really fun. Number 3, Raccoon Robbers. Okay, it's starting to sound like I have a real problem with bank robber games, but this one's a little different. Raccoon Robbers by Klaus Jürgen Reard, but for Pegasus Spiel, is a 2 to 4 player game that takes about 20 minutes per game. The premise is that you're a gang of raccoons who climb up buildings to get points. The higher your raccoons get before leaping off the building to safety, the more points you get, and the closer your boss raccoon gets to the golden trash can and the promise of a trashy feast for your crew. But your opponents are also willing to do anything to get their boss raccoons to the prize, and are willing to push opposing raccoons down the building to get themselves ahead. This is a great and fun game that's also a great gateway game into the board gaming hobby for kids and adults. Number 4, Love Letter. Okay, no robbers this time, I promise. Love Letters seems to have been around a lot longer, but it's only been around since 2012. It was designed by CG Kanai for Alderac Entertainment Group, more commonly AEG. It's a game for 2 to 4 players and takes less than 20 minutes for a full game. Each round of the game is lightning fast once you figure out what the cards mean. The simple goal of this game is to deliver a love letter to the princess. This particular version is set in a medieval court with kings and queens and princesses, although there's quite a few different versions, like Letters to Santa, and a Batman and Star Wars themed version of Love Letter. There are only 16 cards in the game, and each player gets one card at a time. The cards have special abilities and points that let players do different things, like finding out what other cards people have or protecting yourselves against being eliminated. Players take turns playing cards and using their abilities to try and knock out the other players. The suitor left in the round with the highest amount of points wins a token of affection from the princess. And depending on how many players are in the game, you have to reach a certain amount of affection tokens. Once you hit that amount, the game is over and whoever hit it wins. It's a really simple game with only 16 cards and a bunch of small tokens in this bag. Once you get the hang of all the cards, the game shoots by quickly. You can knock out a round or two every 1 or 2 minutes. Number 5, Chupacabra, Survive the Night. Okay, I'll be honest here. Chupacabra Survive the Night was the reason I decided to make this video at all. I was cleaning up and found my copy in a storage box, and it brought me right back to pre-pandemic days when we had pretty big board game nights at my house, and they went pretty late into the evening. After we played the longer games of the night, we were too tired to start anything serious, so we'd break out Chupacabra and play until 2, 3 in the morning. And to me and my game night crew, this was the perfect game night filler. The premise is simple. Be the last mammal standing at the end of the night. Each player gets 6 glow-in-the-dark, 6-sided dice, which have various counts of chickens, goats, and oxen on the sides. One side has the Chupacabra eyes on it. All players roll their initial dice, and the player with the starter chip goes first. If a player rolls the Chupacabra side, they can attack any of the other players' goats, chickens, or oxen. But there's safety in numbers. One Chupacabra can kill 2 chickens or 1 goat. But if there are 3 chickens or 2 goats in the assigned victim's dice roll, then a single Chupacabra cannot attack them. However, if a player rolls 2 Chupacabras, they can kill 3 goats, 2 goats, or 1 oxen. It'll make more sense when you play it. When your Chupacabra kills an opposing player's animal, you then take their animal dice into your pile of dice. So if you kill 2 goats, you take those 2 and combine them with your initial 6 die for your next turn. And as the game goes on, the goal is to take all the dice away from all your opponents and be the last mammal standing. It's a really fun game that is perfect for those late night games when you're not thinking straight. The dice even glow in the dark if you want to play with the lights off. We have woken people up from laughing and cheering so hard at a particularly great roll of the dice. So that's my 5 best short filler games, Volume 1. I have quite a few more games that would fit into this category, so if you'd like this episode, let me know in the comments and I'll put together a second volume with even more filler games. And please, feel free to post your favorite filler games. And while you're at it, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel and gave a big thumbs up to the video. It'll really help me out a lot and can help bring more players into the hobby, which will help you when you're trying to find people to play your favorite games with. Deal? See you next episode.